In the year 2147, the Elias, a state-of-the-art deep space exploration vessel, was on a routine mission to chart the uncharted edges of the galaxy. The crew, Captain Elena Reyes, Dr. Arjun Patel, Engineer Mei Ling, pilot Jake Carter, security officer Maria Gonzalez, and communication specialist Alexei Volkov, were seasoned professionals, but nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to encounter. While passing through a remote sector of space, the Abibus picked up a faint, distorted distress signal. The signal was coming from the Nyx, a ship that had vanished over 50 years ago without a trace. Against their better judgment, the crew decided to investigate, drawn by a mix of curiosity and duty. As they approached the Nyx, the derelict ship loomed ominously against the backdrop of endless space. Its hull was covered in strange, pulsating organic growths that seemed to react to their presence, glowing faintly as if alive. The crew suited up and boarded the Nyx, their helmet lights cutting through the oppressive darkness. The interior was a nightmare. Corridors lined with flickering emergency lights, walls covered in shifting, glowing symbols that seemed to writhe and twist when stared at for too long. The air was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the faint, irregular hum of the ship's failing systems. The crew split up to search for survivors or clues. Dr. Patel and Captain Reyes found the ship's logs in the control room. The final entry was a chilling message from the Nix's captain. "We are not alone. It feeds on our fear. Do not let it into your mind." Before they could process the warning, the hallucinations began. Each crew member was confronted by their deepest, darkest fears, brought to life in horrifying detail. Captain Reyes saw her crew turning against her, accusing her of leading them to their doom. Dr. Patel witnessed his family being consumed by an unknown force. Engineer Mailing found herself trapped in a never-ending maze of corridors, chased by shadowy figures. Pilot Jay Carter relived a crash he barely survived, but this time there was no escape. Maria Gonzalez was haunted by the ghosts of those she couldn't save in her past, and Alexei Volkov heard voices whispering secrets that drove him to the brink of madness. As the hallucinations grew more intense, the crew realized the Nyx was not just a ship, it was alive, and the entity controlling it was feeding on their fear. The more they panicked, the stronger it became. In the heart of the ship, they discovered the source of the horror, a massive, pulsating organic mass, its surface covered in glowing veins and tendrils that writhed and pulsed rhythmically. The entity communicated not through words but through their own thoughts, revealing that it was an ancient being from another dimension, imprisoned by a long lost civilization. The Nyx's crew had accidentally awakened it, and now it sought to escape and spread across the galaxy. Desperate to stop the entity, the crew decided to destroy the Nyx. They set the ship on a collision course with a nearby star, but as they raced back to the Erebus, the entity began to take control. Alexei sacrificed himself to buy the others time, his final act of bravery. Maria and Jake, consumed by their hallucinations, turned on each other in a fit of paranoia. Mei Ling became trapped. As the ship's corridor shifted and closed around her, sealing her fate, only Captain Reyes and Dr. Patel made it back to the Erebus. But they were not the same. The entity's whispers lingered in their minds, a constant reminder that it was not truly gone. As the Erebus sped away, the Nyx was consumed by the star in a brilliant, blinding explosion. Captain Reyes and Dr. Patel sat in silence on the bridge, their faces pale and haunted. The camera zoomed in on Reyes's reflection in the window. For a brief moment, her eyes glowed with the same unnatural light as the entity. The screen faded to black, and a faint, chilling whisper echoed. "The void is not empty, it is alive, and it is hungry." In 2198, the spaceship Odyssey encountered a black hole unlike any other. a swirling abyss that emitted strange, otherworldly whispers in an unknown language. As the crew drew closer, their instruments malfunctioned, and time itself seemed to warp. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the astrophysicist, became obsessed, claiming she could see faces and civilizations within its depths. The whispers grew louder, promising forbidden knowledge but at a terrible cost. The crew began losing their memories, replaced by visions of a dark, alternate reality where the laws of physics crumbled. They realized the black hole was not a natural phenomenon but a gateway to another dimension, a realm of chaos where an ancient, malevolent entity had been trapped. As the Odyssey was pulled toward the event horizon, the crew fought to escape, but the entity's whispers grew deafening, its presence seeping into their minds. In a final, desperate attempt, Captain Lucas Grant initiated the ship's self-destruct sequence, but as the Odyssey exploded, a haunting voice echoed, "The gateway is open. We are coming." In 2234, a team of astronauts landed on a barren, uncharted planet, where they discovered an ancient alien artifact buried deep beneath the surface. The artifact, a towering structure covered in glowing, pulsating symbols, emitted a low, rhythmic hum that seemed to vibrate through their bones and into their minds. As they studied it, the crew began experiencing vivid, shared hallucinations, visions of a civilization that had thrived millions of years ago, only to vanish without a trace. Emily Carter, the team's xenobiologist, became obsessed with deciphering the symbols, convinced they held the key to unlocking secrets beyond human understanding. But the artifact was not a relic of the past. It was a prison designed to contain a malevolent entity that fed on fear and despair. As the crew delved deeper, the entity began to awaken, twisting their thoughts and turning them against each other. Paranoia and madness took hold, and one by one they fell victim to their own darkest fears. In a final desperate act, Dr. Carter activated the artifact's self-destruct mechanism. As the ground shook and the structure crumbled, the entity's voice echoed in her mind. "You cannot destroy me. I am free now." In 2245, a ghost ship appeared on the edge of known space, a derelict vessel identified as the Event Horizon, a ship that had vanished over a century ago. When a rescue team boarded it, they found the interior in ruins, the walls scorched and covered in cryptic, blood-like markings. The crew's remains were twisted into grotesque shapes, frozen in expressions of pure terror. As the team explored further, they began experiencing horrifying visions, hallucinations of the Event Horizon's final moments, when its experimental drive tore a hole into another dimension. The ship's AI, corrupted by the entity it had encountered, had turned the Event Horizon into a living nightmare, trapping anyone who stepped aboard in a hellish reality. The rescue team realized the ship was not just haunted, it was alive, and it wanted to spread its horror across the galaxy. In a desperate bid to escape, they triggered the ship's core to overload. But as the event horizon exploded, the entity's voice echoed through the void. "You cannot destroy what is already eternal." After a routine spacewalk, astronaut Dr. Elena Vasquez began to feel strange. Her skin turned pale and her eyes glowed with an unnatural light. She claimed to hear whispers, voices from the void, speaking in a language she couldn't understand but somehow knew was ancient and malevolent. Soon, the entire crew of the spaceship Ada began to exhibit the same symptoms. Their bodies mutated, their minds unraveling as the infection spread. Dr. Vasquez discovered the truth. It was not a virus, but an ancient entity, dormant in the cold emptiness of space, waiting for a host. The entity fed on their fear and pain, twisting their bodies into grotesque, inhuman forms. As the crew turned on each other, consumed by paranoia and rage, the entity's whispers grew louder, echoing through the ship. "We are the void and we are hungry." In a final act of defiance, Dr. Vasquez set the Aether on a collision course with a nearby asteroid. As the ship exploded, the entity's voice lingered in the void, a chilling reminder: you cannot escape what lies beyond. What if the horrors of space were not just stories? What if they were real? From a derelict ship harboring an ancient entity that feeds on fear, to a black hole whispering secrets from another dimension, and an alien artifact that awakens a malevolent force, these are not just missions, they are nightmares. Join us as we dive into the chilling tales of the distress signal, the black hole anomaly, the alien artifact, the ghost ship, and the cosmic infection. Each story will take you to the edge of sanity, where the void is not empty but alive and it is hungry. Are you ready to face the darkness? Are